started NOR1 PV, the CSP, the lowest CSP tariff that had been achieved in the world, albeit using, for whatever the reason, was 35 US cents per kilowatt hour. Just on this one project, because of a very transparent, very well-structured procurement process, in that one project, it came down to 18.9 cents. Yes, there was concessionary financing. I take the concessionary financing out of it and take it back to real pricing. It was still 23 cents per kilowatt hour from 35 in just one project. And very quickly, it starts coming down. When Zambia last year put out, using the scaling solar process, one tender, nobody ever expected, and it was, I think, Enel Green's price, a price less than 6 cents. No one ever dreamt of it. Just like that, first project, from nothing to 6 cents. So I think we are at a place now where we can very confidently say that for photovoltaic energy, the answer is yes. I think you can pretty much anywhere. And it is going to be proven. Ethiopia is just now tendering some projects. Botswana has put out some tender. I fully expect the Botswana tender, 100 megawatts, to deliver a tariff less than 5 cents. Guarantee it. We are going to participate. I know it. We haven't priced it yet, but I'll be shocked if it comes at anything above 5 cents. So that's the answer to that one.
Thank you.
On the, let me pick up the intermittency also, and I'm sure the others will contribute to it. You're absolutely right. So it is important to recognize PV and wind are intermittent, and that needs to be given a recognition. But let's not lose sight of the bigger picture. Pretty much in any country, particularly in any country where the sun is shining, which is where we obviously should be implementing PV anyway, and that means pretty much everywhere. There is a certain amount of energy that is only used when the sun is shining. Even if there is cloud cover, by the way, the system operators will tell you the demand drops by a certain amount. So there is no reason why not to put X amount of renewable energy, PV energy, into the system now, immediately. The only question is how much is X? Is X 20 megawatts or 30 megawatts or 100 megawatts to start with? It's only when you start now coming down into the load curve where you now have to start talking about standby, the cost of standby capacity from a, say, gas-fired power plant. Fine. What is gas-fired power plant? In a place where for solar PV is going to cost you 5 cents per kilowatt hour, you can provide combined cycle gas-fired power plant that can ramp up and down as to fill in at, in our view, we think it can be done at 5-6 cents per kilowatt hour. So the total is still 10 cents compared to the price that Africa is paying, or not paying as the case may be, when they don't have energy. So I think it's very important not to lose sight. It's the same story, by the way. Even today I keep getting asked, but what about the dust? We are operating a 200 megawatt single site PV plant in Dubai. It is covered in dust every day. And there are certain days you can't see the glass. But we are dispatching energy. How? We keep cleaning it. It's all covered in the cost. And the price is still extremely competitive.
Dr. Nuno de Souza.
Regarding the comment on what is the real cost of the solar power?
Michael. No, it's not school. Not anymore.
Hello, hello? Yeah, it's working. Thank you, sorry. Coming back to the question of the real cost of solar and also from our experience. In fact, there is a part of the cost which is very easy to calculate with all the modules, the line of the interconnection, in terms of distance, the balance of plant and all those parts. And there is another part which is associated much more with the variability. But I think that one first depends, as it was mentioned before, pretty much on the specific situation of the network. It depends on the energy mix in the country, as one. For instance, in our case in Portugal, we were very successful with the integration of renewable energies because we have a lot of hydro, which is very quick, to replace any urgency. We have a lot of gas as well, which is quick in terms of reaction, and so the mix is important. So when a country looks into its overall structure, it has to think about the whole mix and how it fits well. The interconnections also play a role. They are kind of a virtual power plant that you have in order to balance the system, that you can play with it, so it's an important element to have in there. But also, this is only critical after a certain moment, and again, it depends for each country. You have to check what is the amount, the X element that it was mentioned before, that you are perfectly comfortable with. And after that, you have to start having also the additional elements and the additional ingredients in order to make risk less or risk-free almost kind of operation. So until a certain point, it's almost independent on the other conditions, but after a certain point, you have to start calibrating this and involving in your policy and in your energy mix in a way which is completely sustainable. So the answer to the direct price is very difficult to say. It must be very specific in each country, and for each country in the amount of renewable that you have. At the moment in Portugal we have 60% for the complete year. We had moments, as I mentioned before, with 100%, and we had zero curtailment of energy for a long time. Finally we had 3 hours, just to have an exception, but just to tell you that it is adapted depending on the situation of the network.
Sure, absolutely sure. Thank you. One question there. The temperature for operation?
Yes, the temperature is very important. It's one of the significant reducers of the output energy from the solar system. The question was, are we happy with what we have right now? The panels are measured at 25 degrees centigrade. That is what is known as the standard test conditions. But the country's temperature might vary depending on where they are located. I remember one of our first projects of India was done by Nano PV in 2010. We made a 1 megawatt project. The temperature at the site was 35 degrees centigrade. The temperature felt by the solar panel was 65 degrees centigrade. The temperature coefficient of a module, which tells you how much power reduces with increase of temperature, because higher is the temperature, lower will be the power. The temperature coefficient was so small for our panels, so we could get higher number of units. But what would happen if we have 25 degrees centigrade, there is no reduction. But if the temperature is 50 degrees centigrade, there is a reduction of 12.5% because the temperature coefficient is 0.5% per every degree centigrade. So it is 65 degrees. We are talking about 25% of reduction of the energy from the solar plant. Such a significant thing, because that is your revenue you're talking about. The temperature goes high, because of that 25% of your revenue went down. So 100% elimination of that is not possible. So people want to have the lower temperature coefficient. The Nano PV panels have 0.11% degrees per degree centigrade versus 0.5 or 0.45% per degree centigrade rise. So the temperature is very important. We can't change about the material properties, but we can work on the device structure to reduce the temperature coefficient. The question is, should there be a different temperature for Africa? I guess it's because they're asking the ambient temperature is higher. Not necessarily. We have one more parameter called NOCT, normal operating test conditions. We measure at 45 degrees. But as long as we have the percentage of degrees of reduction with the increase of temperature, we can always formulate what would be your loss. But temperature is the #1 reducers of your output power. So in that way, if you make a solar farm in Germany or Norwegian countries, your reduction will be less compared to a hot environment. On the other hand, ironically, the countries that have a higher temperature also higher sun flux. For example, if you make some solar farms in southern Morocco, you can get double the kilowatt hours compared to Germany. The average sun hour is 3.3 in Germany versus 6.1 in some of the hot zones. So we can go with the standards of what we have now. We can definitely predict what is going to be our output power.
Okay, thank you. So, je vais prendre une dernière question. Deux, s'il vous plaît.
Oui, merci. Dassidi Bouna du ministère de l'Énergie en Mauritanie. Ces 10 dernières années, nous avons vu le coût du kilowattheure baisser dramatiquement à tel point que je pense que l'année dernière, on était à 2 centimes de dollars le kilowattheure. Y a-t-il un seuil à partir duquel on ne pourra pas descendre en dessous des prix incompressibles? Je pense que ça, c'est ma question, s'adresse à ces experts. Concernant la question de l'expert de Mazen, nous avons lancé un appel d'offres en Mauritanie en 2016 pour une 50 MW solaire et le LCOE était à 5,9 centimes de dollars le kilowattheure. C'était un EPC, ce n'est pas un IPP, mais 2 ans plus tard, je pense que ça, avec un IPP, autour de 5, même ailleurs qu'en Afrique du Nord, ça peut être possible. Merci.
Merci. Une dernière question, madame.
Sarah Holiday, Imperial College London. Je peux poser ma question en anglais?
Ouais.
I was interested in your comments about the ability to do manufacturing of solar PV in countries, more localized manufacturing. And I just wanted to ask about the very high cost of silicon manufacturing plants at present, and what maybe the feasibility or the challenges would be of doing the whole manufacturing process in developing countries such as in Africa.
Yes, it's a very interesting question. That is something I was insisting. In fact, we have done in Nano PV the manufacturing lines in many countries. In some of the countries, there is the first manufacturing line of that country. Your question was that, is it going to be very expensive? What's the cost of manufacturing? The industry is very mature. It is not expensive in our experience as well as the history. But it is something you have to focus very, very keenly. Just to give you some perspective of this, if you have a solar system in a country, as I mentioned, most of the countries right now, they are taking the panels from overseas, which is almost like 60% of the cost of the system. So, but instead, if you consider having the panel manufactured or cells manufactured within the country, you are going to reduce the system cost itself. So you don't have to go for any additional investment. The manufacturing can cover within the system price, and the manufacturing can sustain for other more years. Even if you can reduce 2 cents by making your own panels, you already have the cost of your manufacturing system. And the industry is very mature. Only difference is that we have to think about higher efficiency, higher energy efficiency, things like that. But the basic panels are here and everybody can do. Every country can focus on that. Yeah.
Thank you. Paddy, the incompressible price, and the incompressible price.
Oui, la Mauritanie, oui. Je ne sais pas si on va atteindre des prix qui sont plus bas de ça. Ça dépend de beaucoup de choses. Il y a 3 choses qui vont déterminer un tarif aujourd'hui. C'est bien sûr le coût de la technologie. On a vu, elle va baisser, mais on ne va pas nous donner en présent les équipements dans le futur. La deuxième chose est bien sûr disons, les clients qu'on a. Alors, si le client est riche, s'il va te payer $1, s'il est dans un pays qui a beaucoup de ressources, eh bien, les coûts financiers associés sont bien bas. Et c'est ce qui s'est passé aux Émirats ou dans des autres pays. Le troisième point que beaucoup de gens vont oublier, c'est la structure du tarif. Alors, il y a beaucoup de nations qui souhaitent avoir un tarif qui c'est plat. Alors, tu vas payer beaucoup en avance, mais tu maintiens ton prix pendant les 20 années du contrat d'achat de l'énergie. Alors ça, on ne va pas atteindre les $2 par kilowattheure avec un tarif comme ça. Et il faut mélanger d'une façon, il faut combiner d'une façon globale toutes ces choses et on va voir ce que c'est les résultats. C'est ça les résultats d'un tarif et c'est ça les résultats d'un appel d'offres normal.
Écoutez, merci. Je pense que je rejoins ce qui a été dit sur le dernier propos. Il faut éviter de comparer les prix faciaux. Il y a beaucoup d'effets d'annonce qui, derrière, masquent des structures de coûts et des spécificités d'environnement de procurement, des spécificités de rayonnement par rapport à une ressource déterminée qui font que chaque fois, chaque projet est unique. Il peut être unique il est unique dans le temps, il est unique dans l'espace. Et pour le moment, on n'a pas trouvé mieux que de faire de la compétition dans de bonnes conditions, comme cela a été dit, dans un environnement légal clair, dans des conditions de transparence absolue, avec un engagement ferme de la part autant des autorités que du client, in fine, et tous ces éléments-là concourent vers la réduction des risques perçus et des risques réels qui peuvent exister, n'est-ce pas, pour obtenir au final un projet qui doit être accepté, acceptable et soutenable par rapport à l'économie du pays dans lequel il se développe. Il n'y a pas mieux qu'un projet qui sous-tend une réalité économique pour que ce projet-là puisse être accepté sur les 25 années par ses utilisateurs. Et ceci est fondamental et je pense que c'est quelque chose qui est pricé dans le tarif aussi des kilowattheures qui est proposé. Donc je pense qu'on a plus ou moins bien respecté le temps qui nous a été imparti. On a démarré avec 9 minutes de retard. Je pense qu'on a terminé avec 10 minutes de retard aussi, où pratiquement on a respecté le temps qui nous a été alloué. Je me joins à vous pour remercier les panélistes d'avoir consacré de leur temps pour partager avec nous leur expérience et de nous éclairer sur un sujet aussi passionnant que fantastique qu'est le futur, n'est-ce pas, des énergies renouvelables et leur développement dans le monde et en Afrique en particulier. Merci à tous.